Hello everyone and welcome to my review for Sonic CD. It is technically the third Sonic game. Release-wise, it is the third Sonic game. Chronologically, it's the second. Make of that what you will. I am here to review it. I have played it now, so let's get into it. Why not waste time? We're not going to waste time. We're going to go right into it. So, Sonic CD. Let's do a bit of history on this game. So, by the early 1990s, compact discs, which were CDs, were growing in popularity as a form of storage for music and video games. At the 1991 Tokyo Game Show, Sega unveiled the Sega CD, a CD-ROM add-on for the Mega Drive Genesis, which was released in Japan in late 1991 and between late 1992 and early 93 for the rest of the world. After Sonic 1's release, lead programmer Yuji Naka had grown dissatisfied with the rigid corporate policies at Sega of Japan, so he, alongside a large number of the original Sonic team, moved to the United States to develop Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with the Sega Technical Institute. Designer Naoto Oshima wanted to go to the US along with his colleagues, but the president of Sega convinced him to stay in Japan. Sega wanted to capitalize on the first Sonic the Hedgehog success and sought to make a new Sonic game for the CD to show off the capabilities of their new system. Oshima was one of the most qualified candidates to head development of this game and became its director. He then assembled a completely new team made up of Japanese developers. Some of these members made other games like Revenge of the Shinobi, Golden Axe 2, and Streets of Rage. Another newcomer was Kazuyuki Hoshino, who served as designer and would go on to work on various future Sonic games. Pre-production of Sonic CD began in 1992 when Sonic 2 was in the middle of development. Compared to the STI, Oshima's team had much more time and freedom to develop the game, and they had far less pressure from Sega to release it on time. Oshima felt in retrospect that this was because they were not making a numbered sequel, like the other team was. Initially, the title was intended to just be an enhanced port of Sonic 1 for the Sega CD. The original plan was to use most of the elements from the original game and incorporate new features that can be offered by the CD. However, the team began having a different vision, and over time the game became less of a port and more of an original work. Ultimately, developers scrapped the idea of a port and decided to make an original game. The game was originally titled CD Sonic the Hedgehog before being given the final name, so they just swapped it. Sonic 1 was packed with platforming sections despite its high-speed gameplay being its selling point, while Sonic 2 leaned into the latter. Sonic CD focused on platforming and exploration, sadly. The core gameplay of Sonic 1 was untouched in the Sega CD game, and the developers used the code of the first game as the foundation for Sonic CD. The team began to think of a strong concept that would add more flavor to the gameplay and make use of the storage space. Time travel was considered for Sonic 2 early in development, but was scrapped. Without the limitations that the other team had, the developers of Sonic CD reused the concept for their game. Inspiration for the concept also came from the sci-fi film Back to the Future. 4 different time zones were made for the game. Each one was designed with different level designs, but all were carefully made to be compatible with each other. Oshima intended to have a near seamless transition between the time zones. The transition was intended to be a sonic boom that would change the level instantly with a flash. However, it was considered impossible to make, as the Sega CD was unable to access the Genesis RAM, which was needed for this, and would instead copy data from the CPU and pass it through the other components, which noticeably slowed down the process. The developers ultimately convinced Oshima that this instantaneous transition could not be made, and a short loading screen was added to cover up the hardware's loading. Sonic CD marks the debut of 2 new major characters, Metal Sonic and Amy Rose. Amy Rose was created in response to a request from the character division of Sega's licensing business, who wanted a character that could be the mini to Sonic's Mickey. However, it was felt during her creation period that those parallels would go against Sonic's personality, for him to be locked in a standard cartoon relationship like Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Instead, it was intended to be a one-way relationship, where Amy's affection for Sonic is unrequited, and they thought that would be much more interesting. Naoto Oshima created the original character design, which was then finalized by Kazuyuki Hoshino. According to Hoshino, there were many voices involved in the creation of the character, including staff members from various departments and editors of the then upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog manga series. Amy's hairband and trainers reflect Naoto Oshima's tastes, while her mannerisms reflect the kind of traits Kazuyuki Hoshino looked for in women at the time. He's based for that, by the way. Although Amy was originally created as a character for the video game series, she first appeared in the Shagokuken Sonic the Hedgehog manga. The series began in April 1992. In the manga, Amy is the girlfriend of Nikki, a nerdy young male hedgehog with the power to transform into the superhero Sonic the Hedgehog. Amy is also the target of the bully Anton Furuka, who I will show here. I believe he's like A lizard frog? This dude. What the fuck? In the stories illustrated by Sango Morimoto, she had a very different design. Most notably, she was brown instead of pink, and her spines were styled into a ponytail. She's simply known as Amy throughout most of the series, with her last name Rose not being mentioned until later issues that were released after Sonic CD. As for Metal Sonic, Naoto Oshima wanted to introduce a new rival. Kazuyuki Hoshino had a clear idea in his head when he was briefed. One of the keywords for this new rival was menacing, and his design followed that concept. Things did not have to be perfect, just had to have meaning to their design. So the glowing red eyes were one of the things that was decided upon the team that would give him a deadly, intimidating look. His jet engine in his chest gave him the speed to match Sonic, and the glossy reflective finish with CGI trends made Metal Sonic feel like a true nemesis and rival to Sonic, and would be advertised on the box artwork alongside Sonic. The ending of Sonic 1 and 2 received criticism for their plain endings. For Sonic CD, the developers envisioned fully animated sequences to introduce the adventure to the players. The Sega CD storage capacity gave them the ability to implement them, and the success of Sonic 1 granted them the budget to make that a reality. The team contacted Toei Animation, the studio behind several anime series, including Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and One Piece. Toei, in turn, subcontracted Studio Junyo, later Junyo Brain Trust, to help in production. On the developer's request, the animators of Dragon Ball were brought in to make the cutscenes. I still await the day we get an anime for Sonic that is done by the Dragon Ball team. It'd go crazy. The cutscenes were traditionally animated. The characters were drawn frame by frame on paper, traced on transparent cells, and inked to give them color. The cells were photographed against still background art, and additional layers were also included for effects. The team played a large role in the production, making several requests so that the animations could match their vision. And that is the development of Sonic CD. It's quite a lot, but it's a lot to go over that is fun. So let's go into this. Now, something I can do for Sonic CD, which I couldn't do a lot for the other two games, is I can tell you a plot. Because Sonic CD really is the first Sonic game to have a plot. Sonic 1's plot is very simple. It's just, Robotnik is capturing the critters and putting them in his badniks, and he wants to pollute the world. Stop him, you know? And Sonic 2 is Robotnik's doing the same thing, but you have a fox boy now. You know, Sonic 1 and 2's plot, not deep at all. Sonic CD actually has somewhat of a plot, which is, a first. And Sonic 3, as we know, really is when they started to go into a plot. But Sonic CD is the first Sonic game to really have a true plot. So, following the events of Sonic the Hedgehog, so yes, Sonic CD takes place in between Sonic and Sonic 2. So Amy meets Sonic before Tails, just so you know. Following the events of Sonic 1, an enormous lake called Never Lake is known for being the location where Little Planet appears once every year. This planetoid is home to the Time Stone, 7 mystical gemstones that can control time. Coveting the Time Stones, Dr. Eggman anchors Little Planet during its annual return to a mountain and builds a shell around it. Eggman uses the unique temporal passages on Little Planet to invade its past, filling it with robot transporters and Metal Sonic holograms to ensure a future where he has total control. This drastically affects Little Planet's fate, turning it into a ruined land under Eggman's dominion. Sonic heads to Never Lake to see Little Planet in the aftermath of Dr. Eggman's takeover, and travels to the planet upon learning of the Doctor's actions. He begins his adventure in Palm Tree Panic, learning that he must destroy the robot transporters in the past and secure the Time Stones before Eggman does. Sonic meets Amy Rose, who has come to Little Planet after her tarot cards indicated that she would find her hero. Amy is kidnapped by Metal Sonic, a robotic copy of Sonic created by Eggman. Despite Sonic's attempts to rescue her, he fails. Sonic continues onwards, overcoming and defeating Eggman and his contraptions along the way. So that is the plot of Sonic CD. We got a time travel plot. We have a new rival. So think about this, though. This also is like the cool implication that after Sonic 1, Eggman was already like, I'll make a robot duplicate of this motherfucker. You know, like that's kind of cool. And we have a cool damsel in distress plot. I love damsel in distress plots. Sue me. So there we go. Again, not a super big plot, but it's a plot nonetheless. Now, this game has 2 endings. Now, the original Sonic games have good and bad endings, but they're really not. The good ending in Sonic 1 is all the Chaos Emeralds float up, and then flowers. The bad ending is you don't get flowers. Okay? And then Sonic 2, the good ending is You become supersonic or you don't become supersonic. Yep. But this one actually has two endings that actually change things, right? And change, like, the fate. So, depending on if you get all the time stones or if you secure a good future for all the zones, these are the two endings. So the bad ending is Eggman retreats on his hovercraft with the blue time stone, laughing at Sonic. Sonic spin dashes and throws a rock, hitting Eggman's vehicle and causes it to explode. A post-credit scene shows Little Planet reappearing above Never Lake in its dilapidated state with the text, "Try again," indicating that you failed. The good ending is Sonic watches Little Planet disappear, leaving behind sparks in the shape of his face. After the credits roll, Little Planet's flowers appear around Never Lake with the text, "You're too cool." So there you go. That's at least a good and bad ending. The bad ending, you failed, Eggman he wins, you know, right? So there is, like, somewhat of a good bad ending, which is fine. Now we can go over the gameplay. Alright, so Sonic moves like Sonic 1. I have to say that. The gameplay of this game is very much like Sonic 1. Because again, they used its engine for this game. However, I do think it's better. I do think Sonic and all around the platforming and just the mobility of him is better than Sonic 1. I do feel like that they did tweak enough to make it better than Sonic 1. Because Sonic 1 is fucking like when you look back at it, you're like, God, how do you play that, right? But Sonic CD, I can still play this and be like, yeah, no, that's better than Sonic 1. It is better. So Sonic moves much better than he did in Sonic 1. Absolutely. For gameplay, we have the signposts. Hidden around every level, there are, not hidden, but around every level, there are signposts for past and future. And what you have to do is you don't have to do it, but what they designed for you to do is you go into the past, you hit a signpost, and you have to go at max speed. So you have to, like, go as fast as you can, and then Sonic will time travel. And he time travels to the past, and what you're supposed to do in the past is you have to destroy all of, like, these robot transporters that Eggman has put in the past. You have to destroy them all in the past and then make a good future, right? Because there is multiple different versions of the zones. There is past, there is present, and there's good future, bad future. Is the four different like versions of these zones. So that's what the signposts are for. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I think I got bad future for all of them. I don't care. I was just playing the game. But that's what you're supposed to do. And then there is a new move in the game, the Super Peel Out. So this is where Sonic can this is where, like, the figure 8 motif comes from, where Sonic, where he runs super fast and he's got, like, the figure 8. It comes from this. So it's like the Spin Dash, but it's not the Spin Dash. You know what I mean when I say that. But that was introduced in the game. It's fine. Also, like the Spin Dash, sometimes it works well, and you're like, great, I like it. And then other times it doesn't work, and Sonic does it when you don't want him to, and you're like, Sonic, why? But gameplay, I think we were better than Sonic 1, is how I would say we work. And the whole past future thing, it's fun. Like, there's two different futures you can get. I like that idea. So, levels. Here are the levels. We have Palm Tree Panic. This is, again, it's our Green Hill. Right? That's what it is. It's our Green Hill. It's fine. I think it's fine. I think Emerald Hill is better. But is this better than Green Hill? I put this the same level as Green Hill. Palm Tree Panic is fine. Collision Chaos, an unusual mechanized forest with a well-established casino and a large reflection similar to the lower half of the forest. I don't like this level. I don't like Collision Chaos. I don't. Why? Because it's a fucking casino level. And you know me, I hate casino levels in Sonic. They are annoying little shits that ruin everything. It's all about choice. It's not about choice. It's about chance. Are you going to make this jump because of the fucking bumper pad? I don't know. You better pray to God you do. I hate casino levels in Sonic so much, so I don't like Collision Chaos, despite the fact the song is a banger. Tidal Tempest is our water level. So it is a series of underwater ruins at the base of a volcano. The water level appears to have risen over time, low in the past, high in the present, at its highest in either future. Tidal Tempest is the best water level we have so far. It is better than Labyrinth Zone. It is better than Aquatic Ruin. Tidal Tempest is a good water level, mainly because you don't have to go in the water. And when you're in the water, even if you're in the water, you're not there for long, right? Like, it very quickly gets you out of the water. So because of that, big up for Tidal Tempest, you know? Quartz Quadrant is a busy mine with conveyor belts and platforms. I don't hate Quartz Quadrant. Like, its gimmick is it's got conveyor belts, so sometimes the conveyor belts will go forward, so you move quicker. Sometimes it goes back, so you have to, like, try and outrun them. Yeah, Quartz Quadrant's fine. I don't have anything like super crazy to say about it. I think Quartz Quadrant is just a fine level. Wacky Workbench. This level I actually quite like Wacky Workbench, to be honest. It's got like a lot of spinning platforms that do like a kind of cool pseudo 3D effect when you're on them. It has like the floor will like be bouncy at times. Yeah, Wacky Workbench is fun. This level also has like little spinning platforms where you have to like time your jump for when Sonic jumps while he's spinning. There's a bit of delay on that one, but Wacky Workbench is fun. I had a good time with Wacky Workbench. I gotta admit. Stardust Speedway. Okay, Stardust Speedway. We all know it for literally the last level, which is the race with Metal Sonic. But before that, Stardust Speedway, it's a fine level, right? I think the one part of it I don't like is why it's kind of like a maze, right? That's I think the part of it I don't like. I love the aesthetic of it though. Like it's a highway with musical instruments. Like that's really cool. Like I think that's a great aesthetic. I don't like the maze parts of it, where it takes a while for you to like understand. Oh, I'm supposed to go there. Okay, like that's the part of it I don't quite like. But you know, there's that. And then Metallic Madness, worst level in the game. Easily worst level in the game. And here's the thing, it's the last level, so you're like, okay, it's gonna be hard, right? This is the unfair hard. Like, I would say Scrap Brain is better than this. Honest to God, I say Scrap Brain is a better final level than Metallic Madness. Because at least Scrap Brain, it's hard, but it's not unfair. Alright? Like, it has its hard level design and hard obstacles and all that. But it's not unfair. This is unfair. This just puts, like a bunch of enemies all over the place, a bunch of like just throws fucking obstacles at you, right? And it gets to the point where you're like, I'm not having fun, you know? That's where Metallic Madness gets for me. I stopped having fun, and when I stopped having fun, that's when you kind of failed, right? Like I still have fun. Like going through Scrap Brain, I had fun. At least the first 2 zones of Scrap Brain, right? I had fun, even though it was challenging. So Metallic Madness, there's no fun to be had here. There's no fun to be had here. So those are the levels for Sonic CD overall. I think we got a good batch. Each level has 3 acts, but the 3rd act is just like a boss, really. Metallic Madness's 3rd act to get to the boss is bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, that shit's harder than the boss. So, then we have the special stages. So, the special stages were intended to be an improved version of those from Sonic 1 and meant to use the Sega CD's rotating function, where the players divide the time stones by alternating between 2 rotating mazes. However, the developers were not satisfied with the speed, so thank God they didn't do the rotating maze shit for this one. Now, Sonic's CD special stages were accessed just like in Sonic 1. You need to get 50 rings at the end of the level, and then a giant ring will be there, and you jump into it. So the special stages consist of a 3-dimensional flat surface. To complete a special stage and thus collect its time stone, you have to seek out and destroy 6 UFOs flying around the area before time runs out. The UFOs move around in erratic fashion, which can make them hard to hit. If a UFO is destroyed, it gives a prize. UFOs with yellow frames give a ring bonus, and the ones with white frames give speed boosts. Also, if the timer goes below 20 seconds, a special blue UFO with red frames will appear in the center. This UFO does not count towards the actual UFO count, but awards the player an extra 30 seconds. There are many gimmicks and obstacles that the player can interact with. Springs bounce Sonic upwards, bumpers bounce Sonic back when touched, fans block Sonic and make him float for a shown time, and chopper block tiles slow Sonic down and cause him to lose rings. And Dash Zone forces Sonic into different directions. If Sonic steps into the water portion of the stage, he will lose 10 seconds from the clock. I will say these stages are better than Sonic 1. Anything is better than fucking Sonic 1 special stages. Not as good as Sonic 2 special stages. I think Sonic 2 special stages beat them. But, like, I understand them, and I can see, like, how fun these could be. I'm just not particularly good at them, right? But I can understand how people can have fun with this, right? I just am not good at them. So I'll leave it like that. I think they're a nice idea. Like the idea for the special stage, I completely am on board 100% with, right? I'm just not good at them, but they're better than Sonic 1. Absolutely. Now let's get into the bosses. Let's do it. Bosses. So, Palm Tree Panic has the EGGHVC001. What the fuck? Like, with all the names we have for Eggman stuff, they went with that. The fuck? So this thing is like, it's a mech, and Eggman's like, the hands of the mech have like bumpers, right? And it's got like spikes on its feet and all that. You can beat this thing very fucking easy, as I did, by cheating. So what you do is, when the boss starts, go to the right side, to the far right side of the screen, and just stay there, because the Eggman will drop down and you're behind him. So then you can just knock him 3 times and win instantly. That's what I did. It's amazing. That's how you cheat this boss. It's great. So because of that, I didn't find this boss hard, because I didn't actually fight it properly. Then we have Collision Chaos with the Egg Tilter. This is the worst boss in the game. It might be one of the worst Sonic bosses I've ever fucking done. It's worse than the Sonic 2 Casino Night boss. And that boss is pretty shit. This is worse. So, in order to beat Eggman, you first have to get up to him. So you have to do a round of pinball to get up to him, and then you can knock him 3 times. What the fuck? Like, honest to God, man, I'm sick and tired of pinball in my Sonic games. Stop. Like, it's in every fucking Sonic game. There has to be a pinball section. It's in Sonic Adventure, Sonic Forces, Sonic Frontiers. It's the worst part of Sonic Frontiers is the fucking pinball. I hate it. Sega, stop putting pinball in your fucking Sonic games. It's not fun. Tidal Tempest, the egg bubble. This is a fun boss. So essentially what you do is, Eggman has a bunch of air bubbles surrounding him. So you have to jump up and hit them. So you hit the air bubbles to keep yourself breathing longer underwater. And he'll shoot like 4 little little balls at you that you have to avoid. What you're supposed to do is get rid of the air bubbles, and then you can hit them once. Well, it may not be once, because on the way to the boss arena, you are chasing him, and you can get some shots in. So depending on how many shots you get in on him there, depends on how easy you can take him down in the final actual boss. But I did good enough, so I was able to like knock him out in 1 hit. Quartz Cauldron has the egg conveyor. This isn't even really a boss. You're on a conveyor belt, and Eggman drops bombs. A big bomb, and when the bomb hits the conveyor belt, it explodes into 4 tiny bombs, and you just have to jump and avoid them, and that's it. And then like where Eggman's standing is slowly getting destroyed by the conveyor belt. So it's just like a survive type deal is this boss. It's super easy. I don't even really classify this as a boss. Egg Razor is Wacky Workbench. This one's fun. So what you do is 4 like bricks are gonna fall down, and you have to stand on them, and then they're gonna get launched in the air, and you have to like hop in between them to get to a platform where you can then knock Eggman, and you do that like about 3 times, and that's it. It's a pretty simple and effective boss. I have no problems with it. Stardust Speedway is Metal Sonic. You race Metal Sonic. You don't actually fight him, you race him. I don't have a problem with this. This took me a couple tries to do. I actually almost beat him 2 times, but I just jumped at the wrong time and failed. So there is the one big problem I have with this is it being a race against metal. That's fine. Like I'm absolutely fine with that being the boss. What I don't like is something that is a problem with me with many racing games is the rubber band. You can be so far ahead of this motherfucker. Like I was, like at the beginning, I super peel out, I jump over all the obstacles, I'm way ahead. I'm blowing past Metal Sonic. And he rubber bands right to you. Right? Like if you don't know what a rubber band means, that means like you're playing a racing game, you're ahead of someone, you can make all this distance, and then they're just like boom, they're right behind you. Inexplicably, they just magically like get to you like a rubber band. Metal Sonic here has that. He rubber bands you. And I hate that shit because it's like, well, what's the point in even trying to pass him? I'll just wait until the end, which is what I did. And then I beat him. So yeah, I understand this. This is a challenging boss. It was to me, right, at the very least. But I wouldn't say it's hard. It's just you just gotta master your jumps. It's like I absolutely get this. The worst part about this boss is the rubber band. And then Metallic Madness, the final boss, the egg spinner. This is not a fucking final boss. This is just a regular boss. I beat this in one go. I don't think... Okay, what boss killed me? Egg Razor killed me once because I wasn't... Like... It killed me once at the end because it changed the formula on me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see. And then I beat it the second time. Really easy, right? Egg Tilter... Fuck that boss. They didn't kill me. It just annoyed me. Egg Bubble I beat once. Egg Conveyor isn't a boss. The first boss I beat super easy. Metal Sonic took me a couple tries. So I would say Metal Sonic should have been the final boss. Like, that fight with Metal should have been the final boss. Egg Spinner, real fucking simple. So Eggman's on, like, this... He's got, like, these 4, like, pylons around his Eggmobile. And you just have to keep hitting him so he knocks out the pylons. So the first time, what you got to do is, when he's got 4 of them, he's going to, like, move like a wheel on the floor. You just get to the corner, and he can't hit you. Then he's going to, like, extend all 4. When he does that, you just hit his Eggmobile, and it falls. Then he's got 3. He'll try and, like, do, like, a 3-wheel spin on the floor. Because there's one part of him exposed, you hit that, and he loses another. Then he's got 2. I forget what you did for the second one, but you can hit him again, and then on the last one, he kind of uses it like a spring, and then you just hit him. It's really simple boss. It's a really simple boss, and it doesn't feel like a final boss to me. Like, the final boss of Sonic 1, that feels like a final boss. Sonic 2, despite how fucking bullshit that was, the Death Egg Robot felt like a final boss. This does not. This feels like a regular boss, and I didn't feel like I was in peril at all. But yeah, I would say these bosses are fine except for Egg Tilter. Fuck that bitch. Soundtrack. Okay, the soundtrack of Sonic CD was composed by Naofumi Hataya and Masafumi Ogata. Sorry. Notably, it was the first Sonic game to feature vocal tracks, which featured vocals by Kaito Utoku. That was because of the CD. You know, we have a CD now. We're not on a fucking cartridge. We have room. In North America, the release of Sonic CD was delayed to have an entirely new soundtrack composed by Spencer Nielsen, who had composed soundtracks for other Sega CD games, along with the help of David Young. Additionally, the boss theme and the music for the Collision Chaos and Metallic Madness levels were composed by Sterling Crew, the former keyboardist of Santana. Most of the tracks were replaced with new ones, with the only exception being the past tracks because they were sequence tracks hard programmed into the game, which meant replacing them and programming new music would take longer. A new song performed by Nielsen and the band Pastiche, named Sonic Boom, was used for the opening and ending of the game. So, I should also note, in the 2011 remaster and the Origins port, you can choose between which soundtrack you want in the title screen, which is a good option. Right? Whatever one you want. So, yeah. For Sonic CD, it has 2 separate soundtracks. It has the Japanese and EU soundtrack, and then the American soundtrack. I believe this was done because of the way Sonic is portrayed. Right? He has a different portrayal in Japan than he did in America at the time. So they wanted a soundtrack to reflect that. Personally, I prefer the Japanese soundtrack. Because, you know, when in doubt, when it comes to, like, a lot of these brands, when in doubt, you go to the Japanese one because that's the true official one. But the American soundtrack, the US soundtrack, it's not bad. It's just I prefer a lot more of the Japanese songs than I do the American ones. So some standouts for the Japanese soundtrack to me is the present version of Collision Chaos, which is used as like classic Amy's theme because that's where she first shows up. Then there's the good and bad future versions of Collision Chaos are also very good. Tidal Tempest's bad future is the best version of Tidal Tempest. Quartz Quadrant good future for Japan is fucking amazing. Stardust Speedway, Bad Future Japan, that's the classic, that's the Metal Sonic song, right? This is Metal's theme song that he uses all the time, is this one, Stardust Speedway. When you say Stardust Speedway, this is the song everyone hears in their head, so, you know, there you go. Metallic Madness is just a cool song, right? Like, that's just a cool song. It's got like the rap kind of thing going. The Bad Future version of Metallic Madness has voice lines in it. I believe they say, you can do anything, so don't even try. Or you can't do anything, so don't even try. Get some help. Don't do what Sonic does. And then the final one is Sonic, dead or alive, is mine. Now, there is... people don't know... I don't think it's ever been confirmed who actually says these voice lines. Some people say it's Robotnik. Some say it's Metal Sonic. I don't know who. I'm fine with either or, but the idea that it's Metal is kind of fun. Then there is Final Fever. The final boss theme is great. Suitable for a final boss theme. The boss itself isn't suitable. And then we have the 2 vocal tracks, which is You Can Do Anything for the opening and Cosmic Eternity for the ending. They're both great. You Can Do Anything is where the Toot Toot Sonic Warrior came from. So that's fun, and Cosmic Eternity is just it's a very nice, very 90s Japanese song. And then some US songs that I like is the Good Future version for Quartz Quadrant, the Bad Future version for Wacky Workbench, the Bad Future for Stardust Speedway is also very fucking good. And then the special stage music for the American version, really, really good. I really like that. And then Sonic Boom. It's Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is like, I think Sonic Boom's better than You Can Do Anything. Absolutely. It's a fantastic song. It's one of my favorite Sonic songs is Sonic Boom. So thank God I have that. Don't sleep on the American soundtrack. It's got good songs, but the Japanese one is better. But yeah, Wacky Workbench US is fucking amazing. And so is Stardust Speedway US. Like Bad Future, great. Now we can go over the re-releases for Sonic CD. It actually doesn't have that many. It doesn't have that many releases. So we have the Sonic Gems collection for GameCube and PS2. Then there's the Christian Whitehead 2011 remaster, which is what started Christian Whitehead on his journey of remastering all these games. And then Sonic Origins. That's it. That is all the re-releases this game has gotten, which is a shock to me. I would have thought that this game would have been re-released a lot more often, but no, it really hasn't. The Christian Whitehead remaster, I should say, also was the one that was on like the PSN store for a long time on like PS3 and Steam and all that. It was this version, but that's been delisted now because of Origins. But yeah, that's all the re-releases. Way less than Sonic 2 and 1. I was really shocked when I found that. I'm like, really? Just these 3 times? Okay. So, Sonic CD. Overall, I think it's a better game than Sonic 1. But I think Sonic 2 is still better. This is the perfect middle ground. And actually, it makes sense for it chronologically to be here. Because it takes the best parts of Sonic 1 gameplay and just enhances it, makes it better, while still not being as good as Sonic 2's gameplay. You know what I mean? It is the perfect middle ground to bridge the gap in between those two games. So like if you're playing the games chronologically, you go Sonic 1 and Sonic CD and then Sonic 2, you'll be like, oh, I see the progression here, even though it's not really one, but you know what I mean. So I would give Sonic CD a 7 out of 10. Its soundtrack is phenomenal, right? As because we're on a CD, we can do more. It actually sounds not like, 16-bit music. It actually sounds like, proper, fully realized music. So its soundtrack is amazing. I think the levels visually are all good. Like they all have good themes and everything, so I like that. Pretty much all the bosses are good except Egg Tilter. Its plot is all right, right? It's an all right plot. It's still a Genesis Sonic game, right? So, there's that. Yeah, I don't hate Sonic CD at all. I think it's I think it's better than Sonic 1, not as good as Sonic 2. Gameplay-wise, it is just like, it does feel like Sonic 1, but just a better, more refined version of Sonic 1. The best way I can describe it gameplay-wise, in terms of like how Sonic feels and he controls, is if Sonic 1 was given more time. Then I feel like this is what the controls would have been like. And we wouldn't hate the controls of that game so much. But yeah, that's Sonic CD for me, 7 out of 10. So, what do you think about Sonic CD? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys all next time.